Back again. Another episode of A Muslim and an Atheist Breaks Bread. It is just me, the atheist, at the moment. So don't worry about it though. My pops will be back with us soon. Obviously, we're going on a bit of a run now with what's going on in America, what's going on in Europe, how, the new president basically, how he's changing the sphere of geopolitics as we know it. I personally believe this is the end of democracy, but it may not be. It may just be a chaotic 4 years that we have to endure. So we'll see. I mean, so far, in the first 100 days, I believe it is, of Trump, we've had tariffs. Now, I did the video that should be out by the time this comes out about how he's backtracked on the tariffs for Canada, suspended them for 30 days. Now, this actually just is earmark of Trump. This is what he does. He comes out with blistering statements, says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to build a wall, I'm going to take Greenland, I'm going to do everything that he thinks people want him to do. Now, to me, he's just a flat track bully. Others love Trump. Now, I don't know enough about the man. I don't know enough about US politics to really have much of an opinion, but this channel is all about learning. I will give my opinion, but mainly what I want to do is learn about what's going on in the world. So, we've actually got a video today of this woman is a Trump supporter. She works for Fox, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Her name's Maria Bartiromo, and she's actually just challenging him on his tariffs. Now, I did say in the last video that I watched is, from my understanding, that if you raise tariffs, and this is just my understanding of economics, again, I'm not an economics scholar, student, or anything like that. If I raise the price of something, if I've got a business and my materials come more expensive, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to shut my business down or move it. I might just raise the price of the product. So all the American people that are buying products are going to be affected. Now, I think the crash in the markets in America at the moment, or the destabilization, is a reflection that people who actually know what they're talking about don't think that this is a good idea. Again, I could be wrong. I don't know. But I want to see a Trump supporter challenging Trump on his own tariffs. I think that'll be very interesting. All right, so let's just jump straight in.
Shareholders, I've got to make plans for CapEx spending. I can't if it's 20% one day and then it's off for a month and it's 25%.
Yeah.
So can you give us a sense of whether or not we're going to get clarity for the business community?
Well, I think so, but the tariffs could go up as time goes by, and they may go up, and I don't know if it's predictability. I think
so. That's not clarity.
No, it's not clarity and it's not predictability either. I don't know how he defines that, but it seems likely that they'll go up. It's Donald Trump. That's the only direction that these things have moved in. But again, she is there to represent the business interests that, look, justifiably, they put Donald Trump in power. They're the ones who control the Republican Party, and she doesn't want to turn off the Trump base. She doesn't want to turn off regular Fox viewers, but she also has to deliver for the business interests that are the point of all of this, and so thus the pushback. And so we want to give Trump a chance. Maybe he's got a little bit more than that. Here's how he responded.
I think that they say that. It sounds good to say. But for years, the big globalists have been ripping off the United States. They've been taking money away from the United States. And all we're doing is getting some of it back. And we're going to treat our country fairly. This country has been ripped off from every nation in the world, every company outside in the world. We've been ripped off at levels never seen.
Right, so I would love actually an American to put in the comments how they believe America's been ripped off. This is the country that bombs people into democracy. This is the country that, you can only trade for oil on the US dollar. So essentially they had a treaty signed that means that that oil is only traded in the US dollar, which makes them pretty much the most powerful country in the world. And actually, if I was Europe, I would actually just say, scrap that treaty with America. So let's create our own euro dollar and let's trade oil on the euro dollar. And you'd actually soon see America's influence and power crumble just from that alone. So when you're saying America's being ripped off, how you arguably the strongest, most economically stable country in the world, but still you're being ripped off. I'd like to know. I'd like to know if the crusades of you and the West, I will throw Europe into this a little bit as well, but I feel that is just because, again, America strong-armed everyone into it, going and bombing democracy into the rest of the world, you know, is a thing. How you've got Hillary Clinton, who basically wants to start cold wars with Russia and Ukraine, paying 20 million to the Orthodox Ukrainian church to separate with the Russian church, which was actually under their guidance for 1,000 years previously. This is just my understanding. Again, I'm not a historian. I'm just someone who likes to read. I don't know. I want people to inform me. So please jump in the comments and let me know. I want to know how America has been ripped off, please.
What we're going to do is get it back. We're going to get a lot of it back.
I appreciate irony as much as the next guy, and hearing Donald Trump say that Americans have been ripped off for too long as he tells them they can and will pay 20 to 30% more for virtually everything they buy is deeply ironic. I appreciate that. But that said, the pushback is here. Not only Maria Bartiromo, other Republicans, elected ones, we have a Democrat as well. But before we get to that, Cenk, what do you think?
Yeah, so look, this story is amazing. It's got twists and turns. It's got Republican crime as predicted, and it's now arrived. But it also has two Fox News hosts making a super interesting point and then making an absolutely ridiculous point in like the span of 2 sentences. So I can't wait to get to that as well. But overall, like, if Donald Trump was really fighting this, making sure America doesn't get ripped off, I'd be totally in favor of that. Are you kidding me? Fighting global corporations to make sure you protect the average American, that's what we're all about. But is he really doing that? Doesn't look like it. But John, one of the interesting things.
See, your man here, listen, I'm always careful of what I watch, and to be I'm perfectly honest right now, watching this wasn't the video. I thought this was just a straight interview. However, your man's just made a very good point. Listen, we're all for auditing, we're all for efficiency, we're all for our governments fighting for the people. However, when you're bringing in companies that you've been in charge 100 days and these corporations are earning more money now than they were before, who are you really fighting against? You're actually just tearing the government apart, but not looking at the corporations that are doing tax evasion, selling arms to foreign states, lobbying, you know what I mean? Really look at the issues at hand. I get it, you're trying to go on this, we're being efficient. But a lot of the numbers that you're putting out are inflated. A lot of them are just blatant lies and false. A lot of the information that, you know, I've seen with when we're talking about the social security numbers and people are 350 years old. There was literally an interview done by Elon Musk, right? He did these interviews within 2 days of each other. The first day he says, oh, you know, we found people 150 years old who are getting social security. Then literally the next day, that number jumped to 360 years old. Like, where are these numbers coming from? I would love to know, like, these numbers have been pulled out their arse. Absolute nonsense. But yeah, let's get into it. I don't want to keep ranting. Sorry, people. This is your government, not mine. This is the people you voted in, not me.
Because when business interests are aligned with Trump, everything's smooth sailing. And there's no problems that everybody, except for the average American who is going to get robbed to bejesus, right? Like, so I'm looking out for the average American. That's what we're going to do, $4.5 trillion in tax cuts for the super, super rich, okay? So when they're aligned, they're going to push that agenda through, but they're not aligned now, which then makes things a little bit harder for them. That's not so bad. That's good for the rest of us.
Yeah, and they don't want chaos. Businesses, thinking long-term or even just medium-term, they don't want that sort of chaos. It's not been good for the stock market. You can just take a look if you want. In the short term, I've been speculating on my show for some time that it is certainly convenient as a billionaire to be able to raise and lower the stock market like you're flipping a light switch. You announce a trade war, stocks dip, you and your rich buddies get to buy stocks when they're low, and then you say, we're actually not gonna do the trade war, so the stocks go back up. That's convenient for a nice little return in about a week's time, but that's chaos. And that's maybe good for some individuals, but the major corporations, they're massive donors, they don't want any of that. And so let's sort of run through the week in trade wars. So as you know, at the beginning of this week, Trump announced that the 25% announced tariffs on most Canadian and Mexican imports would actually go into effect. But since then, we had on one day he decided, actually not for cars, we're not gonna do that, so that's good, I guess. And then the next day it was announced, we're not gonna do it at all, actually, for about a month, which we've already been through one cycle of that, where he had said we're doing it, and then they waited a month. Now we're doing that one more time, so I guess we get to play this game again sometime in the beginning of April. And why exactly he decided to back off, he gives different answers depending on who asks him and when they ask. In the interview with Maria Bartiromo, he just says, I wanna help out Canada and Mexico. But you're the one who launched it. How are you helping them by just not doing the thing that you said you were gonna do? It's strange. And it gets even more personal. Here, he was talking about the president of Mexico, and he said, I did this as an accommodation, and out of respect for President Sheinbaum, our relationship has been a very good one, and we're working hard together on the border, capitalized for some reason, both in terms of stopping capital I illegal aliens from entering the United States and likewise stopping fentanyl. Thank you to President Sheinbaum for your hard work and cooperation. Which is interesting because that's actually the excuse he gave the last time when he delayed the trade war. He said that they've made these accommodations on sending soldiers to the border and stopping fentanyl. Now, when you actually fact check that, most of those agreements had already been made in December under Joe Biden's administration. He's not even saying this time what the new part is supposed to be, but he's saying there's something to do with her. And he said that the reason they were backing off on the tariffs affecting the big three auto manufacturers is because they've made promises to move more of their supply chain domestically, which again, not a bad result if he actually got that. That's one reason potentially to engage in these sort of tariff games. It's a very long-term play, and he's not been honest from the very beginning about the actual economic pain that people would suffer probably for years before those supply chains are moved. And also, there's no indication that that's actually happened, but I guess it's a good cover story at the very least. And so there's now these carve-outs, but again, not on everything, and the market will likely largely recover for now, but people are gonna be wary that in a month's time, we're just gonna return to the same sort of thing. And so that's where we're at. We'll get to some of the other Republicans opining in a bit, but Cenk, what do you think?
Yeah, so I have the answer. He has no idea what he's doing. That's why he did it. Okay, and he A/B tests. Those are the two things that are always constant with Donald Trump. So look, we tell you what's gonna happen ahead of time so you know who to trust and who not to, and you can analyze it for yourself. So we're not Monday morning quarterback. Okay, so what did I tell you? I told you that he tests different things out, and then if things don't go well for him, the poll numbers go down, Republicans get attacked in town halls, the senators rebel, or the different things that he looks, the stock market crashes, that's his number one indicator, right? Those things happen, and then he immediately goes, okay, that A didn't work, let me try B, right? So and then that's why he proposed it, even though it made no sense because he never does any planning. No planning at all. If you remember Jim Cramer on the day that they announced the new Canada and Mexico tariffs, it's like, wait, I don't get it. I talked to business interests, and they're all asking, wait, how is this even applied? Who do we pay? Like even the most bare bones, obvious elementary part of executing a tariff was not done because they never planned anything. Trump just goes, I'm gonna put back, I get it, make it go. But brother, you said cut out the fentanyl, and they did, and actually Canada did a terrific job, got it down to less than 1% of the fentanyl entering the country when it was a much higher number, etc. Then you just shocked them out of nowhere for no reason, because apparently you just wanted to do these tariffs. And I know why, by the way, I'll get to that in a second too. And then when they don't work out, the stock market crashes, all the Republicans complain, all of a sudden backpedal. But as predicted, that's what he does. So look, and by the way, you want that. You don't want him digging in and going, oh yeah, I'm now going to make him 35%, 45%, because that ends in disaster. When he doesn't dig in and he flip-flops, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. The fact that he doesn't have any planning at all, bad thing, period, bad thing, okay? So why did he go back to doing tariffs in this second time around when Canada and Mexico had actually had complied with everything that he demanded? Because he wants to be able to say, oh no, the tariffs and the gold card is going to pay for the $4.5 trillion tax cuts. Because that's what they're going to push through right now. So they already did that vote last week. Now they're going to go into the committees and come up with specific proposals. So that's why the Doge cuts came in the beginning, and that's why they were a hatchet and not a scalpel, because they wanted to say, oh, what do you mean? Oh, we're cutting so much. And the tariffs, it's magically going to create 5 trillion, 8 trillion, let's make up a number, to replace the 4.5 trillion that we're about to give away to all my donors. That's the whole point of all of this. But he did A/B test and it didn't work for him. Jordan.
Yeah, I think we're hearing this term more and more. It's this madman theory of governance. If you've seen economists, you've seen analysts on financial networks describe his behavior and his administration's actions as such. Like you're saying, I don't think he had a plan here. I also don't think he was prepared for Sheinbaum and Trudeau to call his bluff. I think they're so used to America being able to throw its weight around and other countries just acquiesce that they maybe were caught a little off guard. And once they saw the market go into a spiral again, you had a huge drop, one of the worst weeks in years this week in the stock market. I think we know who Trump ultimately serves. It's not the people. It is the capitalist class. It's billionaires. It's Wall Street. It's corporate and special interests. Enough people have Bessent's ear or other people in Trump administration's ears that discourage them from going through with these. We'll see if now in April that they follow through with this, but I don't think that they will, just because it's
Okay, so listen, I don't think that they'll follow through with the tariffs because, like people keep saying, they do not make sense, right? I actually think the tariffs again is just a smokescreen to draw everyone's attention away from the mess that is making Ukraine and Russia. Now, and obviously what's ever going on in Palestine, which are big issues at hand. I think for the American people, these tariffs, and I think the Canadian people and Mexican people, these tariffs are going to be a big thing to impact them. But on a world scale, there's obviously a lot more going on. Again, what I really want to do is I really want to see the interview with Maria Bartiromo. So I'm going to find that video for you and I'm going to upload that as well. I don't really have much to say on people talking about the interview because I want to make my own judgments, but a lot of what they are saying is exactly what I am trying to relay or articulate, in the sense of that he doesn't have a plan. I mean, there's a lot of Brits that like Trump because they feel that we've gone kind of soft and they feel like, no, we need this. I like a man just to do what he says he's going to do. You know, but I keep trying to point out to him and say, like, well, what has he actually done that he says he's going to do? Yeah, he says things that I don't like, but he does say things. And then people are like, no, but he's doing it. No, he's not. He's breaking the law. He's doing things that are unconstitutional. He's pretty much, like I said to you, living in a time of decadence where democracy is dying. And he, remember, is a Putin fan that wants to rule like an emperor. So, yeah, listen, that was a short video on that. I am going to find the right video and get it uploaded for you. But for now, we out. Peace.